to have a fitness testing for him this year to see where he's at. But I think it's the number of guys that would be falling behind are so minuscule because it's just way too competitive now, and you can lose your job too quickly.
No, and that is a really good point. That's a really good thing, because you're right. There is there's sometimes I got to get on the bike or I got to do this to build my VO2 up. But so let's make it more sport specific. Something that I know a lot of trainers like to see is broad jump. So doing 3 broad jumps. I mean, you probably did that skipping into your office today, Frankie Corrado. That is nothing to do. So that I can track where I'm at. And same with maybe like hip mobility. That's another thing I know that trainers really like. But the days of the bench press, I mean, I'd get on that thing and you're trying to just kill it. You're like, what am I doing here? Like, you don't, I'm not throwing a ball here. So I think maybe it's be more sport specific, just again, so I can track it. I know I can get it tracked by my own trainers. Everyone has their own trainers. But I don't know. Guys, I think at some point we might see the fitness testing come back. I really do. Again, not as a punishment, but as a way of tracking where I'm at and tracking each other and holding each other accountable on that team.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. And, I think what you said, Frankie, is very accurate in terms of the modern athlete. I remember speaking with, I think it was Max Domi years ago, about how he trains in the summer where he wasn't using weights. It was all like running and, stretching, like he was working out extensively. Clearly, he's in incredible shape, but was not like throwing up dumbbells and bench press and all that, where, again, to prepare for the test just to make sure Craig Berube's happy with you, maybe you got to do that. Like if there's some sort of expectation, like you got to hit 15 at 225 or whatever the number is and whatever the denomination is, where it may not be conducive to what you're doing all summer. But I also wonder if there's a workaround with this in terms of them just applying it to the ice. Like we're going to get you on the ice. Like, so that first day, like be ready because I've always wondered that also. Like I get the importance of being in shape. I get the importance of being in the gym, and you're a professional. You have to do it. We talk far too often about players who, wow, they really got in shape this year. Yeah, you're supposed to. You're a pro. Like you have to do that. Like that's a requisite. It's not something you should be getting some flowers for or some celebration that you did it. But I've often wondered this in every sport. I don't know what it would look like, but is there a way to test, like, actually what you've been working on the ice? Like, is there a way to test, like, is your shot harder or better or faster or quicker? Is your stride better? I don't know. I mean, wouldn't that be more?
There is, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it because all these teams now wear, like, it's called like a catapult. It's basically like a bra strap with like a chip in the back. And we would wear these in Toronto and Pittsburgh. And basically it could tell you all that stuff. It could tell you if your right side was working harder than your left side. And we could kind of forecast, hey, maybe this right hip is going to go at some point. Like they have all that technology. But I think my kind of takeaways from all these camps, like I did John Tortorella's Camp Tortorella. I did Travis Green's crazy one. Actually, Babcock's wasn't too bad. But all these guys want to see is when you are pushed to a place that you don't feel comfortable going, what's the look on your face? Are you still grinding through it? Do you look like you're defeated? Do you look like you're tired? I think that's what these guys really want to get out of this thing more than, like, the sports science guys, they'll get all the other stuff, right? But it's more the coach wants to see, like, how comfortable is this guy in a really crappy situation?
Yeah, and I like that idea. And I think that is obviously going to have to continue, right? Like, regardless of what the CBA says, coaches are going to have theirs. But every sport, has softened in that. Like, you talk to old school football coaches, hockey coaches too, it was always two-a-days. Like, there were two-a-days all the time. That's what it was. You showed up in the morning, you grinded for 2 hours, go have some lunch, chill for a bit, get the pads back on. We're going to hit again in the afternoon. And, they're still complaining about that, and the game's softer now, and the game's not as good, even though there was no evidence that the two-a-days actually meant anything come the season. It was just a way for, I think, coaches to get into the action and get things going. But yeah, I mean, all you guys bring up good points. I am curious now about tracking, clothing deals and stuff like that for the players. Yeah. You know who made it big was Cherry. Don Cherry is the guy who made it big.
Yeah,
like that's right. When it popped, though. That's when it meant something.
Right.
When Don Cherry would show the players And I don't know if you ever got on Hockey Night Strut, but I'm sure it was a big moment for you if you did. Like, look at this guy. I love him. He's the best. Look at how good they look. Like, that's what Jerry used to do all the time. And kind of glorify, you know, the suits and how good guys looked when they're walking in the rink. It was the best. And that was it. That's all I remember, because you're right. On a Tuesday night on Global, I don't remember them showing guys walking into the Gardens, you know, back in the early 90s. It was basically hockey night, and it was Coach's Corner. That's when it started.
No, I mean, Don Cherry, being recognized by him was something special. And he did, you know, I met him once or twice, and he was like, oh, Jason Stradwick, whatever. It was so cool to hear him. But in all my years, I got interviewed one time for Hockey Night in Canada, one time, and I got the towel. You know, they take the towel, they put it over. I honestly, I think I loved that towel more than I loved anything, including my family. I had this towel.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours moved in this for a few months, and I had the towel kind of put away, but it was above the other towels. I come home one day, she's working out in my gym in the basement. I go down to say hi. There's the towel, and she's wiping her greasy face off. I was just like,
that's
you're out. You're out. Find a place to live.
That's a kick
you're
out. That's a hotel.
I lost it.
Hotel.
She's like, I thought you had more. You thought I had more. Have you seen my stats? They don't interview the seventh defenseman every Saturday night like they do the top guy. I was losing it, so I washed it and folded it properly again, and I still have it. But disrespectful,
that's got to be
Frankie.
on display, man. I've seen guys. Some guys get really carried away with that towel. They've used it as like their golf towel. I have seen that before, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, you just hit a chunked up 60-degree wedge. You took a divot the size of a veal, and now you're going to wipe that with. You're going to wipe your wedge with the Hockey Night
outrageous.
towel. Are you out of? You're out of your mind.
No, but you're right, man. I would look at that like the rules of like touching a Stanley Cup if you've never won one. You can't touch a Hockey Night Canada towel if you never played. Like if it wasn't given to you by like the producer. You know, it's Scott Oakes standing beside you or whatever.
Yes.
Like you can't do it. I'm sorry. Like those are sacred threads. And
Struddy, were you in the league when they implemented the 3-hour rule at training camp?
Yes. So my first training camp, practice, game, practice. We were there all day. I came out of there, I was so tired. I'm like, I'm not in shape. I remember calling the guy who kind of works me out this summer. He's like, how's it going? I said, I'm out of shape. I can't. He's like, well, what are you doing? Like, we're having to practice the game and a practice. When they put that 3-hour rule in, it was nothing. It was such a joke, and now it's shrunk down more, and I get it. Guys are in shape, and I think they're moving in the right direction. This isn't like, look what we used to do. But just to give you a sense, it was so hard. You were so tired at the end of the day. You just drag yourself back to your room, try to eat something, just pass out. It was incredible how hard it was.
When I heard stories of guys like the old Grizzly guys that when the 3-hour rule came in, they were watching that clock like a hawk from the time 100%. They got there to the time like they were watching on the ice, and they're like, we're getting there. And then you hear stories, right? Like they just get passed around the league. Certain players with a pretty big aura were like, we're out of here.